A Dialogue of Comfort against Tribulation by St. Thomas More. Book 3, Chapter 4. Anthony. Let us now consider, cousin, these causes of terror and dread that you have recited, which in his persecution for the faith this midday devil may, by these Turks, rear against us to make his incursion with. For so shall we well perceive, weighing them well with reason, that albeit they be indeed somewhat, yet, every part of the matter pondered, they shall well appear in conclusion things not so much to be dreaded and fled from, as they do suddenly seem to folk at first sight. Chapter 5. First let us begin at the outward goods, which are neither the proper goods of the soul, nor those of the body, but are called the goods of fortune, and serve for the sustenance and commodity of man for the short season of this present life, as worldly substance, offices, honour, and authority. What great good is there in these things of themselves, that they should be worthy so much as to bear the name by which the world, of a worldly favour, customarily calleth them? For if the having of strength make a man strong, and the having of heat make a man hot, and the having of virtue make a man virtuous, how can these things be verily and truly goods, by the having of which he who hath them may as well be worse as better, and, as experience proveth, more often is worse than better? Why should a man greatly rejoice in that which he daily seeth most abound in the hands of many who are wicked? Do not now this great Turk and his pashas, in all these advancements of fortune, surmount very far above a Christian estate, and any lords living under him? And was there not, some 20 years ago, the great Sultan of Syria, who many a year together bore himself as high as the great Turk, and afterwards, in one summer, unto the great Turk, that whole empire was lost? And so may all his empire now, and shall hereafter, by God's grace, be lost into Christian men's hands likewise, when Christian people shall be amended, and grow in God's favour again. But since whole kingdoms and mighty great empires are of so little surety to stand, but are so soon transferred from one man unto another, what great thing can you or I, yea, or any lord, the greatest in this land, reckon himself to have, by the possession of a heap of silver or gold? For they are but white and yellow metal, not so profitable of their own nature, save for a little glittering, as the rude rusty metal of iron. Chapter 6. Lands and possessions many men esteem much more yet than money, because the lands seem not so casual as money is or plate. For though their other substance may be stolen and taken away, yet evermore they think that their land will lie still where it lay. But what are we the better that our land cannot be stirred, but will lie still where it lay, since we ourselves may be removed and not suffered to come near it? What great difference is there to us, whether our substance be movable or unmovable, since we be so movable ourselves, that we may be removed from them both, and lose them both twain? Yet sometimes in the money is the surety somewhat more. For when we be fain ourselves to flee, we may make shift to carry some of our money with us, whereas of our land we cannot carry 1 inch. If our land be a thing of more surety than our money, how happeth it then that in this persecution we are more afraid to lose it? For if it be a thing of more surety, then can it not so soon be lost? In the transfer of these 2 great empires, Greece first, since I myself was born, and after Syria, since you were born too, the land was lost before the money was found. Oh, Cousin Vincent, if the whole world were animated with a reasonable soul, as Plato thought it were, and if it had wit and understanding to mark and perceive everything, Lord God, how the ground on which a prince buildeth his palace would loud laugh its lord to scorn, when it saw him proud of his possession, and heard him boast himself that he and his blood are for ever the very lords and owners of the land. For then would the ground think the while to itself, Ah, thou poor soul, who thinkest thou wert half a god, and art amid thy glory but a man in a gay gown. I who am the ground here, over whom thou art so proud, have had over 100 such owners of me as thou callest thyself, more than ever thou hast heard the names of. And some of them who went proudly over mine head now lie low in my belly, and my side lieth over them. And many a one shall, as thou dost now, call himself mine owner after thee, who shall neither be kin to thy blood, nor have heard any word of thy name. Who owned your village, cousin, 3,000 years ago? Vincent. 3,000, uncle? Nay, nay, in any king, Christian or heathen, you may strike off 1/3 part of that well enough, and, as far as I know, half of the rest too. In far fewer years than 3,000, it may well fortune that a poor ploughman's blood may come up to a kingdom, and a king's right royal kin, on the other hand, fall down to the plough and cart, and neither that king know that ever he came from the cart, nor that carter know that ever he came from the crown. We find, cousin Vincent, in full ancient stories, many strange changes as marvellous as that, come about in the compass of very few years, in effect. And are such things then in reason so greatly to be set by, that we should esteem the loss so great, when we see that in keeping them our surety is so little? Marry, uncle, but the less surety we have to keep it, since it is a great commodity to have it, so much more the loath we are to forego it. That reason shall I, cousin, turn against yourself. For if it be so as you say, that since the things be commodious, the less surety that you see you have of keeping them, the more cause you have to be afraid of losing them, then, on the other hand, the more a thing is of its nature such that its commodity bringeth a man little surety and much fear, that thing of reason the less we have cause to love. And then, the less we have cause to love a thing, the less cause have we to care for it or fear its loss, or be loath to go from it. Chapter 7. We shall yet, cousin, consider in these outward goods of fortune, as riches, good name, honest estimation, honourable fame, and authority. In all these things we shall, I say, consider that we love them, and set by them, either as things commodious unto us, for the state and condition of this present life, or else as things that we purpose by the good use of them to make matter of our merit, with God's help, in the life to come. Let us then first consider them as things set by, and beloved, for the pleasure and commodity of them, for this present life. Chapter 8. Now, as for riches, if we consider it well, the commodity that we take of it is not so great as our own foolish affection and fancy maketh us imagine it. I deny not that it maketh us go much more gay and glorious in sight, garnished in silk, but wool is almost as warm. It maketh us have great plenty of many kinds of delicate and delicious victuals, and thereby to make more excess, but less exquisite and less superfluous fare, with fewer surfeits and fewer fevers too, would be almost as wholesome. Then the labour in getting riches, the fear in keeping them, and the pain in parting from them, do more than counterweight a great part of all the pleasure and commodity that they bring. Besides this, riches are the thing that taketh many times from its master all his pleasure and his life too. And for many a man is slain for his riches, and some keep their riches as a thing pleasant and commodious for their life, take none other pleasure of it in all their life than as though they bore the key of another man's coffer. For they are content to live miserably in neediness all their days, rather than to find it in their heart to diminish their hoard, they have such a fancy to look thereon. Yea, and some men, for fear lest thieves should steal it from them, are their own thieves, and steal it from themselves, for they dare not so much as let it lie where they themselves may look on it, but put it in a pot, and hide it in the ground, and there let it lie safe till they die, and sometimes 7 years thereafter. And if the pot had been stolen away from that place 5 years before the man's death, then all the same 5 years he lived thereafter, thinking always that his pot lay safe still, since he never occupied it afterward, what had he been the poorer? By my troth, uncle, not 1 penny, for aught that I perceive. End of chapter 8.